Again, it's in the subtitle of the book. It's not a trick. I'm not trying to lure you in and not give you any answers. I want to give you a clear way to set yourself up for success so that you don't feel overlooked whenever someone else got the promotion. I want you to be set up for success in getting that first promotion. Welcome to the Waves Business Coaching Podcast, where we help you build your dream team in your business. I'm Jacob Carnes, and this week we are talking about chapter 9 of my book, Master Your First Job is the book. The chapter is how to get your first promotion. So the subtitle of my book is The Remarkable Path from First Day to First Promotion. So this is the penultimate chapter of the book of how to get that first promotion. And look, if you're a business owner, leader, there's no weird TikTok secret weapons of say this in the conversation, nothing like that. And if you're a first-time employee listening, sorry, nothing, no secret weapons there, but the secret weapon is clarity. We're going to talk about clarity this week and how to practically go about asking for that first promotion or setting yourself up for the best success in getting your first promotion at your first job. For more information about the book, go to masteryourfirstjob.com. And I'm giving away the audiobook and a video summary for free to help you get that information. Let's dive into my conversation with my wife, Addie, interviewing me about chapter 9 of the book, How to Get Your First Promotion.
Hey, Jacob. We are back for chapter 9 in your book, Master Your First Job, all about getting a promotion. So this is kind of the culmination of the whole book. It's the remarkable path from first day to first promotion. So this is a big one. We made it. This is a huge, huge chapter, which is great. But before we dive into that, why did you write this book and who is it for?
So I wrote this book because most first-time employees don't know how to successfully navigate their first job opportunity. They get hired, they hopefully get trained, and they get a paycheck and nothing more. Their first job becomes just a line item on a resume, and they walk away unfulfilled from their first job opportunity. And I believe that everyone deserves to get the most out of their first job, and everyone deserves a simple plan to help them get the most out of their first job. So I wrote the book, Master Your First Job, to help you get from your first day to your first promotion, which we will talk about here in this episode. And look, this is for the high schooler who's getting their first part-time job at, Starbucks. This is, for the college student working at a car wash while they're getting their degree. This is also for employers of those places who want to help their first-time employees, want to invest in them by reading this book, giving it to them as a resource and saying, hey, I want to help you get the most out of your first job. This is for you too. And I think even as an employer reading it, you're going to find a lot of value of how you can invest in these first-time employees and actually use it as a competitive advantage to make your business better. And so, but again, main audience, first-time employees, and really want to help you guys get a decade head start on your career. And it took me a decade to learn the lessons, but I want you to be able to read it in about 3 hours total time and get a decade head start on your career.
I love it. So let's just dive right in there. Promotions. That can be kind of scary to ask for one. Why do you think asking for a promotion is so difficult?
Well, we talked in the previous episode about asking for a raise and why that's so difficult. And it's the same thing because a promotion 95% of the time is going to come with a raise. And so you're asking for more responsibility, which isn't as scary, but you're still asking for more money, and you're asking someone to put a value on you in a sense. And you're being vulnerable enough to say, hey, I'm putting my value in this promotion. Am I worth it? And someone's going to say yes or no. And it's not really what you're saying, but internally, it's definitely a battle I think you face is like, oh, if I get told no, then I'm not worth it. And there's a lot of, in asking for a raise or promotion, there's a lot of self-confident issues that you have to work through in order to get to the place to ask the question. I mean, Addie, why do you think asking for a promotion is difficult?
To be honest, it's a confidence thing. Like, am I good enough? Do you think that I'm good enough to do whatever is the next step? And if not, then it's like, man, well, again, it just goes back to, we always talk about clarity, just being clear.
That's right.
So why did I think I was good enough when I'm not, So it's just kind of scary putting yourself out there like that.
It is scary. 100% it's scary. So I think that's the biggest issue to me, is a confidence thing and a value
Yeah.
thing of, it's hard for people to be vulnerable enough to ask a question like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to help eliminate some of the confusion and give you the confidence that you need to ask this kind of question.
For sure. So many people we know feel like they get looked over for a promotion.
Yeah.
The first section in this chapter is called I Deserve a Promotion.
Yep.
So why do people feel like they deserve a promotion, but then they get overlooked?
I'll tell the story before the end of this episode, but I know there's lots of people who are in my shoes of, I was in a place in my first job and I felt like I deserve a promotion.
Yeah.
And I did get overlooked for the promotion. And
Yes,
I'll
you
unpack that
teased
here
that
in
in
a
the
little bit.
last episode.
I did get overlooked for it. And I was really disappointed because I felt like I was the most deserving. But what I hadn't clarified was the leadership need, the leadership value. And I couldn't clearly articulate why I deserved the promotion. So people feel like they get overlooked because A, they might have seriously gotten overlooked, but B, they're left wondering why they got overlooked. And they're left wondering, well, what did I not have that that person did?
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and say, because we're not going to talk about this really, but look, sometimes at first jobs, there's young people in leadership. And sometimes people do just get picked because they're friends with those people. I know that happens. We're not going to talk about that here. We're going to talk about, and again, in my story, that was definitely part of it. So we'll unpack that story in a little bit, but I don't have a secret around that. I apologize for that. But we'll talk about how to set yourself up for the most possible success when asking for a promotion and getting that first promotion. Again, it's in the subtitle of the book. It's not a trick. I'm not trying to lure you in and not give you any answers. I want to give you a clear way to set yourself up for success so that you don't feel overlooked whenever someone else got the promotion. I want you to be set up for success in getting that first promotion.
Yeah. How can first-time employees kind of cut through the fog and set themselves up for success while they're seeking a promotion?
So one, this is going to sound very similar to the last episode. So if you have listened to the last episode, keep listening because we're going to expound on it a little bit and you'll have even more confidence. If you haven't, I'm going to lay it out in this one anyway, but I would recommend listening to the last one of how to ask for a raise. Everyone wants to make more money. So for a promotion, it's going to look very similar. Step one is meet with your boss. And if you can, meet with the person most closely associated to handing out promotions. So if you know that, hey, this person's in charge of this leadership role, meet with them. And what you're going to do in this meeting is you're going to A, clarify your value, just like when asking for a raise.
Yeah.
B, clarify the business value, just like asking for a raise. But this last one, you're going to clarify the value of the new position you want. Because here's what happens a lot of times. I'll use the Chick-fil-A example because I worked there. Let's say I'm working on front counter. And I know that, you know what? I am the best front counter person here. Therefore, I deserve a promotion to have this leadership role of team leader. Well, what's needed for team leaders? Let me tell you what's not needed. You don't need the person that's best on front counter to be a team leader. You need someone who's organized, who's servant-hearted, who's going to be able to run breaks well, who can answer guest questions. And it's like, look, it's almost like being good at your first job is a prerequisite for getting the promotion, but being the best person at your job does not qualify you for the promotion because what people need in the leader is probably different than what they needed in the team member in that first level. And so I think a common misconception is people go in thinking of, if I'm the best at this level 1 job, then I'm most qualified for level 2. Yeah. When in reality, there's certain qualities that they're going to look for in the level 2 person that you could have showed that you're good at in level 1, even if it wasn't the exact job description, to set yourself up for success. And then that's why I think people feel like they're overlooked is it's, well, I was the best at this level 1 position. Someone else got the level 2 position. But in reality, there's a chance you might not have been qualified. And you may have been qualified, which again, I'm going to talk about my story that I keep teasing, but you didn't even know you were qualified. You didn't even know how to articulate why you deserved it, which is where I was. And so, yeah, I think cutting through the fog, meeting with your boss, ask for that personal value, get personal feedback. How am I doing in my role? Economic value, what's important to the business? Like, how can I measure my success and make our business more successful? And then,
Yeah.
hey, what are you looking for in a leadership role? If you can get them to say
There
3
you go.
qualities, 3 is a great number. If we
Yeah.
need someone who is like really organized, we need someone who is great with people. I'm making stuff up as I go here. And,
Yeah.
we need someone who, can run breaks, whatever. It's like, okay, well, now you know what you need to do to go get promoted. And again, ask the clear question. Hey,
Hmm.
I'm interested in this next job, this promotion. How can I set myself up for success there? If they can give you the clear answer there, amazing.
Yeah.
If it's unclear, that's the other stuff I just talked about. Clarify your personal value, the business value, and then find out what they need in that new position.
There you go.
Step 3 is the hard work. Go and get the
Yeah.
results. Spend time increasing your personal value, increasing business value. Again, that's the prerequisite, is being good at your job. But that next level, how can you show them that you're the best person for the promotion? And again, sometimes, especially at people working first jobs, that first promotion a lot of times may not have an interview. If it does, though, start jotting down stories that you can tie to those values for the new position. And so if being organized is what's needed in the new position, what are some stories you can talk about at work or at school or in your personal life or in stuff you're involved in to show that you are organized? Because
There
if you
you
can
go.
go to them and say, I'm organized because I do A, B, and C, and that's why I'd be a good fit for the role, then you've won. And so
Yeah.
whether that's in an interview setting or if you're just asking for a promotion, after you have those results and you're armed with those results, you can then have the confidence you need to either go and ask for a promotion or interview for a promotion. And so you have to have that confidence, and you have to walk this fine line of a confident humility in order to have that conversation.
There you go. Talk a little bit about that then. Confidence and humility. It seems so counterintuitive. And I know we talked about it a little bit before, but can you explain how someone can have both?
Yeah, confident humility. It's a term I definitely learned at Chick-fil-A at the corporate office. When they talk about in the talent department with interviewing, it's a term that's used a lot, is you've got to have a confident humility. It does seem counterintuitive. I think that on the surface, you could say, like, well, humility is this, and well, confidence doesn't really align with humility. I disagree. Here's how to have confident humility. One, the confidence is going to come from the results. And the
Okay.
bottom line is, like, that's to me how you can have self-confidence, is when you're confident in your abilities and your results.
Yeah.
And part of that comes from just working on yourself and being very comfortable in your own shoes and knowing who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay to be confident in that, you know what? I am good at this. Now, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is knowing and acting like you're better than everyone else, right?
Yeah.
And I think even the I know I'm better than everyone, you can begin to have an internal arrogant attitude that you think is just internal, that then bleeds out externally.
Right.
This is where the humility comes in. And we talked about this with, oh gosh, I forget what chapter we talked about humility. Coachability. There you go.
Okay.
But humility is an I am second mindset. It is an I will put others first. It is I'm
Yeah.
going to care about others first. And so you can have that mindset and be confident in who you are and your results. And so that's when you humbly go and ask and you say, hey, I'd like this. But here's what I'm confident in. I've accomplished A, B, and C, which is what you look for in a leader. And
Mm-hmm.
so a confident humility is needed in being confident in yourself, your abilities, and your results, but approaching every situation with humility so that you don't come across as arrogant. It is a very fine line, but when towed right, I think it is the best employees and leaders alike, that if you can practice this now at your first job, you're going to set yourself up for a long-term career success. Excuse me.
Yeah, for sure. So if there's an employer out there listening to this, how can they help their employees get a promotion, and why does that benefit their organization?
Here's a secret weapon. Bosses, leaders, employees, create a clear path from day one of how to move up in the organization. Publish the job descriptions for everyone to see from day one of here's what I value in this role. This is very similar to giving the raise, but lay out clarity. People crave clarity. All they
Mm-hmm.
want is clarity. They want to be clear on something. And so when you have clarity, you can have the confidence to grow in an organization, the confidence to fail and know that like I know what I need to do to move forward. So if you're an employer and you can lay out, you know what, for this first leadership role, what I really need is A, B, and C. Come up with 3 qualities for each role. And then tell people on day 1, hey, I know it's your first day. This is just here in the handbook for whenever you need it. I went ahead and laid out what it takes to move up in this organization.
Nice.
Here's exactly what we look for.
That's great.
And again, I know it's your first day, but if you ever get curious, just know it's here. And if you have any questions, come and see me. But here's the clarity you need. And similar to the raise, what's going to happen is your best employees want to move up. And in order to move up, they're going to work harder to move up, and they're going to want to prove themselves.
Yeah.
And so you set yourself up for a competitive advantage because now your best people come in, and like we talked about in the last episode, they're making more money because they're doing more. Now they're moving up and they're taking on more responsibility. And in turn, you were paying them more money to take more responsibility, and they're staying with you longer. And they're not just leaving after 6 weeks because the Target across the street offered me 50 more cents an hour for the same job. It's, you know what? I feel valued here. I know exactly what I need to do to move up. I'm growing. I found personal identity in this job. And that happened to me at Chick-fil-A. My Chick-fil-A career was an accident. I took Chick-fil-A as a part-time job, but I kept feeling valued and growing, and I liked the challenge, and I liked moving up, and I liked having leadership, and liked making more money. And I just kept kind of staying there and seeing what the next step would be all the way to the corporate office. And that can happen for someone else. And that can happen if you're an employer. You could hire someone like me who's just waiting for someone to invest in them and offer them clarity and a path for growth. And they're going to want to work for you for so long. They'll be your most loyal employees. And here's what happens is those people are typically friends with people who are also great. And they're going to tell all their friends to come work for you. And so when you offer a clear path for growth from day 1 in your business, you can have a huge competitive advantage over other businesses, and the best people will come work for you and stay and work for you longer.
For sure. Well, before we close out, you've been teasing the story. And I know we all want to hear it. Share your experience of asking for a promotion.
So I did deserve a promotion, believe it or not.
There you go.
And got passed up.
Humility right there. Just kidding.
Yeah, so I got passed up on my first promotion. I knew it was between me and there was one spot available for 3 of us that wanted it. Wow, and I mean, just like being blunt, especially at the time, I was like, I deserve it over them. The person who got it, I was like, it's ridiculous. I know exactly why they got it. It's because they were friends with the other person who had that role. They were very openly friends. And I know that person had input on who got the role. I'm like, it's ridiculous. I can prove I'm better than them. But again, I had no idea what they were looking for in that role. I had never had the initial conversation saying, hey, what are you looking for in the team leader role? I just tried to keep being the best team member ever. And in turn, I missed out on the promotion. Here's the thing. I blame myself. I was like, you know what? It sucks. I feel like I got passed over. I feel like I deserve it more than them. But I never went and got the clarity. I never went and got like, hey, what are you actually looking for? What can I do to set myself up for the best candidate? I just kept thinking like, I'm just going to keep working hard and, you know, showing them that I'm nice, and hopefully they'll hand it to me when the time comes.
Right.
What I did was I did this in reverse. After I got passed over is when I went and had the conversation and said, hey, what are you looking for in a team leader? Because I really felt like I checked every box. I learned some new information of what they were looking for. Still felt overlooked, but at least then I had the clarity of, you know what, they need this, they need A, B, and C. I'm going to work on these areas and make sure that next time I'm not passed over. That will not happen again to me. And so I went and worked hard. I got results in those areas and worked on my humility because, again, I felt passed over. I did feel a little bit arrogant. I felt like I deserved it over them, but I was like, you know what? I need to show that I'm humble, that I can work for this person. I'm not going to give them the cold shoulder. I'm not going to ignore them and be disrespectful. I'm going to submit to their leadership. They got chosen. That's fine. But it's not going to happen again. I'll be next. Was what I told myself. And so once I had the clarity, once I had the results, the opportunity did not come because I asked for it the following time. Again, sometimes opportunities fall in your lap. One Saturday night, the person who got the job over me and their friend who I thought had a role, and them getting the role, just walked out on a Saturday and quit on a Saturday night at Chick-fil-A. They just walked out and quit. and I walk in on Monday to someone saying, hey, these 2 people walked out. We got like 15 minutes to teach you how to count drawers. And here's a key to the register. You're going to be a team leader. So again, I do credit though. I did it too late, but I got the clarity I needed after getting passed over to say, what are you looking for in the role? I then took it upon myself to make sure, you know what? I'm going to make sure I set myself up for success and being the best candidate for this team leader role that I really wanted. And then an opportunity came where the position opened up. And because, again, I credit to, because I was humble enough to ask why I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Submitted to the leadership, worked really hard to get results, set myself apart as the best candidate. Then when the position came open, no matter the circumstance of it coming open, I was the best candidate for the role at that point. And at that point, I did get promoted, and they asked me to be a team leader because typically, and this is something I didn't mention, typically promotions happen one of 2 ways. Promotions either happen because the business needs someone to fill a position, right? Like, hey, we need 4 leaders. Right. We have 3. We need 1 more. Therefore, they'll either open it up and have several people apply, or they'll pick who they think is the best. Or the other way is businesses look at you and they say, we cannot lose this person. We have to have this person in leadership. We will create a role for this person because of how set apart they are. And that's the more, I'll say not as common circumstance, but if you're setting yourself up as the best employee and getting the results you need, you'll be ready for when either of those circumstances happen. And that's what happened in my story. Was I got passed over. I got the clarity I needed. I asked the question I needed to. And most importantly, I got the results, the confidence I needed to set myself up for success the second time. And when that opportunity came, I had those in my back pocket and was able to take advantage of that opportunity and got my first promotion and loved it. And 10 years later, 10 years at Chick-fil-A later, I'm glad I stuck with it.
I love that.
Love it. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. If you want to find out more about Master Your First Job, you can go to masteryourfirstjob.com and get the book. Look, the ebook is only 99 cents on Kindle. That's a steal because I'm also giving you the audiobook, which you can see right there on Amazon. It's like $7. Nice. And a 15-minute video summary, absolutely free. So go to masteryourfirstjob.com to get both of those. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the oh my goodness, almost said the Extra Point, my college football podcast. That's so funny. Look, thank you for watching.
Plug to the other podcast. Check them out after.
Goodness, you don't have to. Different audience, but thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Waves Business Coaching Podcast.
There it is.
Take care.